A pure gasoline sedan with an out-the-door price of about $117,000. Today, we're going to take a look at the 1.5T Volkswagen Sagitar to see whether it's worth considering and what its strengths and weaknesses are. The Sagitar currently comes in 4 trims, one 1.2T and 3 1.5T versions, and the one shown in this video is the most popular mid-level 1.5T trim, the 300TSI Super version. Its sticker price is about $22,000, and the current total out-the-door price is just over $17,000. At the same price, you could also buy a mid-level 1.5T Honda Civic or a 1.5T Buick Regal. So relatively speaking, what are the pros and cons of this Sagitar? Let's start with the conclusion. The interior looks quite upscale, but the chassis materials are a bit cheap. It's solid and durable, the trunk is large, but commonly used features are not very rich. Next, let's take a closer look inside and out. The wheelbase is 2731 millimeters, which is standard for a compact sedan, but the body length is 4791 millimeters, close to 4.8 meters. In terms of power, it uses the updated 1.5T engine with a maximum of 160 horsepower and 256 Newton-meters of torque, and a tested 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration time of 8.3 seconds, paired with a 7-speed dry dual-clutch transmission. It's said to have fast shifting and high efficiency, but in real driving, when you floor the accelerator, there's no obvious burst of power, and the acceleration feels smooth throughout. The transmission also doesn't support launch control, so overall, the powertrain can be described as not very powerful but sufficient, mainly tuned for smooth daily driving. Fuel economy is actually quite impressive, with real owner feedback averaging around 6.7 to 8.0 liters per 100 kilometers, which is even lower than the Civic, although acceleration is slightly slower. As mentioned earlier, its body length is close to 4.8 meters, longer than most compact cars, and most of that extra length is in the rear. So when you open the trunk, the internal depth reaches an exaggerated 1 meter, and if you place items far inside, it can even be a bit difficult to reach them. The trunk capacity is about 500 liters, larger than many mid-size sedans, and all trims support folding rear seatbacks. Opening the door, you can see that this trim uses black and gray dual-tone leather seats, especially in the middle section with patterned and perforated detailing. The door panels and upper dashboard also use large areas of soft touch materials, and with the upright 12-inch screen, the overall interior looks like a smaller Passat, especially when you get out of a similarly priced Japanese car filled with hard plastics and fabric materials, and then hear about features like integrated stamping doors, laser welded roof, and cavity wax protection. You might feel that Volkswagen has invested quite a bit in interior materials. But when you bend down and take a look underneath, the chassis is mostly covered in large steel components, and if you search online for a chassis analysis, you'll see things like a partial subframe, single-layer stamped lower control arms, and even parts that used to be aluminum have quietly been switched to steel. Of course, materials are one thing, and tuning is another. The Sagitar still feels stable when driving, but switching from aluminum to steel is hard to justify. If steel were really better, why was it aluminum before, and why is the newer Sagitar L still using aluminum? Anyway, let's look at the features. The Sagitar comes with LED headlights with automatic function, but the turn signals are still halogen. On the side, it comes standard with 17-inch wheels, though the tires are a bit narrow at 205 millimeters. The front seats support heating, and the side mirrors tilt down automatically when reversing. Inside, the steering wheel is leather-wrapped and feels good, but it's a bit strange that it has adaptive cruise control and automatic emergency braking, yet no lane-keeping assist, meaning on the highway you don't need to control throttle or braking, but you still have to steer manually, which doesn't even qualify as basic Level 2 assistance. The instrument cluster isn't fully digital, but the 12-inch center screen is quite large, although it still uses Volkswagen's previous generation system. Functionally, it comes standard with smartphone connectivity, internet features, and built-in navigation. The center console looks very upscale and even has ambient lighting, but the climate control is manual. In the rear, the 2731mm wheelbase provides plenty of space. Someone of my height can still have more than a fist of legroom. The seat cushioning is slightly firm, but the cushion length and backrest angle are well designed. The second row includes air vents, 2 USB ports, a center armrest, and a middle headrest. So, in summary, this car has decent power and fuel economy, spacious seating, and a very large trunk. However, it cuts some corners on features and chassis materials, while spending more on interior presentation. It looks quite upscale when parked, but at a price of just over $17,000, adding another $3,000 to $4,000 could get you into an entry-level mid-size sedan. So if this car doesn't appeal to you, next time we'll take a look at some entry-level mid-size options.